So, you want to get anything you want? Alright, so in the past video I mentioned bringing harmony by bringing both sides into balance. There's something in this reality of bringing two sides into balance that just creates harmony, creates people, create whatever you want. We're going to go over how to manifest anything you want, how to create anything that you want. And we're going to go over the basic equation in this video. Okay? So we've gone over how you've got two parts to your mind. You've got the conscious side and you've got the subconscious side. Now those are two parts. One corresponds to art, while one corresponds to science. You could say one corresponds to the analytical, factual side, and the other one the more intuitive side, the rational and irrational. I wouldn't like to use irrational because that has a negative connotation to it, and when you say irrational, you think of foolish or, stupid, anything like that. So we're going to call it the intuitive side. The side where you won't take in facts about something, but you'll just have the right feeling, and you're born with it. You know this feeling. It's called feeling. There you go. And so with these two halves, you have to bring them into harmony. Now, there's a basic formula to this, because on one hand, the conscious side would correspond with will, your will, and then the subconscious side would correspond to that of the intuitive side, your imagination. And so once you bring the two into harmony, once you mix will with imagination, you'll get the desired result. And you'll see people actually succeed with this by just, intentionally, imaginating or intentionally visualizing what they want, and then it brings it about, and it actually works. And this is where you get the law of attraction. And this is why I've said before I don't like talking too much about the law of attraction, because the law of attraction is based off of an idea that's way older, that goes into way more troubleshooting than I've ever found on the law of attraction. So they teach you how to attract, but they don't teach you how to, repel what you don't want. And then there's a lot of troubleshooting. They say, oh, you can attract this, but you can't attract that. Bullshit. You can do whatever you want. And so, by just intentionally visualizing that which you seek, you can bring it about. As I've said, acting as if, that's how you do it. Now, this video, I'm going to talk about the will a little bit. It's mainly what we're going to go over now, but we have the basic equation. Will plus imagination equals your manifested whatever you want. And so when we intentionally visualize what we want, it obviously brings it about. But it can't just be anything. As I've said, it's your will. And a lot of people think of the will as just something they want. If I want this, I must will it. There's a difference between will and desire. In the last video I talked about desire, and desire causes a lot of suffering. And so desire alone will not work with getting you what you want. And they don't tell you this in the law of attraction. They just say, figure out what you want, visualize it, act as if it's happened, and there you go. You'll have it. No, because the will is not desire. Just because you want it doesn't mean it's going to happen, because the subconscious overrules everything. If it's not in harmony with your paradigm or your subconscious mind, it's not going to happen. And so the will is very much different than the desire. And you can think of this as somebody who, they're like, I want to quit drinking. They say they want to quit drinking, but they don't, because they desire to quit drinking. They desire to quit smoking. They desire to quit this or that. But it's not in their will to do so, so it won't come about. So when you're using the law of attraction to bring what you want, you need to really start thinking, is this a desire or is this a will? Now, for you who are out there and they're like, well, I desire this, I guess I can't get it. You can still get it, but you have to turn that desire into a will, which can be a little tricky to do. And I'll give you a trick to do that I've also mentioned before in my Wealth and Prosperity series. If you haven't seen it, go and watch that series. I'll leave a playlist link at the end of this video. And so what you can do is, as they say in the law of attraction, act as if. It's also called embodiment. the will, you become that which you seek. This was gone over in Think and Grow Rich. If you want to be a professional basketball player, no matter how many videos, no matter how many tutorials you watch, no matter how much you go home and think, until you go out, you put those shorts on, you hit the court, and you start practicing and being the basketball player, you won't become the basketball player. And it works with anything that you want. You have to start becoming what you want. Start dressing the way that you want to become. If you visualize yourself becoming this type of person, start dressing like that person. Not that person as in it's somebody else already, but the one that you imagine. Start dressing like how you think they dress. Start thinking the way you think that they would think. It's like I said, if you want to be a millionaire, go out and read books that are written by millionaires and start adopting the mindset that they have, and then you will slowly but surely become rich due to this little equation. Because while you're doing so, you are now turning the desire to have whatever you want into a will. And imagination's pretty easy. It's something that we all have within us. We can all imagine. You've seen movies where, you've got the little kid or the little superhero and their imagination starts getting too wild, or the wizard in the movie gets too wild and all this crazy stuff happens around them. The same's with you. But as long as you can get your mind straight, you can start to manifest specific events and things that you want. Now, you've always been doing this and you've never known it too. So there's a lot of sufferings come from our lives, from what we've turned desires into wills, and then also had imagination, whether you're visualizing a negative situation and then it comes about. We've constantly been either screwing ourselves over or blessing ourselves. And that's why I've said to filter in the conscious thoughts that you have, because not all of them are yours. You get a lot of fucked up thoughts, and I do too. We all do. And so when you get those, it helps to say out loud, I reject that thought. Spoken word does a lot to the subconscious mind, and that's why people do mantras. That's why people do affirmations. They say it over and over and over and over and over again until it gets in there. People will put sticky notes up on the wall. They'll put it on the mirror, on their dashboard in their car so that they see it. I have one on my bathroom mirror right now, and I forgot about it until now, but it just popped into my head. I've gotten so used to doing it that my conscious mind doesn't see it, but my subconscious mind is seeing it. And that's what you wanted to go over to. And so I was going to save this next part for the next video, but I want to kind of get it out just to give y'all a little sneak peek of next video. Now, when taking our will, which is part of the conscious, and our imagination, which is part of the subconscious, to work in harmony, you get into a little trouble because there is a filter between them. You can't directly communicate with the subconscious that easy. That's why they say to do affirmations, because that repetition will keep coming and it'll eventually get in there. But you can do this a lot quicker, and that is through meditation. When you meditate, you slim that filter down very, 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 very thin. And so what you're saying, what you're thinking, will pass right through. That's why people freak out about, oh, this movie's got subliminal messages. Well, while you're watching the movie, we all know we trance out. I took about 7 years of theater, and I forget what the name of it was called, but it's whenever you go into the movie theater and you're all watching the movie and the screen is almost glued like a VR set. And you forget that you're in the movie theater for a minute until somebody or someone drops a phone, something rings, and then you snap out of the trance. And so that's why people freak out like, oh, it's subliminal messaging. Well, it is, but also a lot of people trip about stuff that you don't even need to trip about, and then that just causes negative things in the mind and yada, 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 yada. But that's the perfect position to be giving someone subliminal messages, is during a long movie where they'll be in trance, and that little filter, that little veil between the conscious and subconscious mind slims down to where they can slip in things. Now, you can use this for yourself, just as it's, a weapon. You can use something for good or for bad. And a lot of people use this thing for bad. And so here's how you can use it for good. So while you're meditating, which I've got a video on meditating too, go check it out. It's called A Clear Space. It's part of the Wealth and Prosperity series. All you really need to do is just sit down and just quiet your mind. Start focusing on your breathing to the point where you start to just, you feel the bliss. You'll know what I'm talking about when you do it. Go watch the video. Don't have enough time because this video is starting to trail on. But once you start meditating, you start slimming that down. And then once you get to the point where you feel like you're deep in quote unquote trance or meditation, what I've done before is I'll start saying things like, I am healthy. And here's how you'll know if it's working very well. And this has only happened a few times. And one time I was meditating, and whenever I was saying these things, they were coming out in slurs. So I was very deep into trance, and I didn't even realize it until after I got out and I started speaking, and I was like, my voice sounds different. And so when you're that deep in the trance that your words are almost slurring across, you're there. And every time, and of these two or three times that I have slurred while meditating, I got instant results, like within 2 days. Now, I didn't say I am healthy. I was wanting something specifically different. Too long of a story for now. But start meditating, start becoming that which you seek, start embodying what you want to be or what you're trying to get. Because if it's a desire, you're going to want to turn that into your will. So then you can add the imagination or the visualization. The visualization is so important, and I said that in the first 10 videos I made, or podcasts that I made. So start embodying what you want to be. Start adopting the mindset. Start becoming that which you seek. Number 2, if this equation isn't working for you, the will plus the imagination, meditate while you do it. Or meditate and also focus on that thing. Because you don't want to fall into a quote-unquote hypnotic trance where, the stage performer put you in a trance, because then you don't have your will anymore. You're or whatever. Not to say if that's real or fake, but you don't want to fall in so much of a trance that your will isn't even there yet. You want to bring balance between the two. It's like the time right before you fall asleep. You never remember falling asleep. And that's why people listen to things as they're going to sleep, so that it gets into the subconscious. That's why I've done it. That's why I'll play MP3s on repeat all night, is because it gets in and it works and it follows this equation. So start practicing these things, put them to good use, and within days you should be getting instant results. As I said, I was going to leave a link to the Wealth and Prosperity series right here. Make sure you subscribe and hit the notifications button so you get all of them. And then right here I'm going to post my last video. I will for you all to prosper, and have a great day.